What's up everyone, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been testing out the new Beats Studio Wireless 3s. I've been actually using the second generation of these cans for the past year. I've been pretty satisfied with them, so I was really interested to see what the new Studio 3s have to offer. And from the external design, they're pretty much 98% very similar. There's really no difference, especially if you get what I got. I'm a simple guy, so black on black is perfectly reasonable. But they do have a whole bunch of different color options available for those of you that like a little bit of variety. But I actually have the same black on black finish on the second generation, and there's pretty much no physical discernible differences besides the label on the side saying Studio 3s on the third generation. Now in terms of build quality, the new Studio 3s are very similar to the Studio 2s. They feel just as rigid, and originally when the Beats first came out, they were notorious for having pretty crappy overall build quality, very plasticky, and although we still have a lot of polycarbonate construction on the new cans, they do feel very sturdy. I've been actually using the second generation for over a year now, and I've put them through all different types of scenarios. I use them for my powerlifting training. I use them to run outside, to play guitar, and a whole bunch of other things. I've dropped them many different times, and there's no discernible marks. And right next to the Studio 3s, they look just as new, which is a testament to how far these headphones have come. Now, from a closer perspective, if you take a look at the stitching on the ear caps themselves, you'll notice that they're a little bit softer than the second generation, and they give you a little bit better isolation, which is definitely going to make things a little bit more comfortable, and you can even use them as earmuffs if you're living in a colder environment, which is always handy. Now, internally, there's a whole bunch of different changes made to the headphones. Namely, they have new drivers. They're using the W1 chip from Apple, and there's huge improvements in terms of battery life. Now, let's talk about the battery life itself. When paired with an iOS device, you can actually get up to 22 hours of Bluetooth connectivity versus the second generation were rated for around 12 hours. Now, in terms of real life battery life comparison, when connected to the iPhone, I averaged around 12 to 16 hours on the Beats Studio 3s versus I typically got anywhere between 6 to 8 hours on the second generation. So huge improvement in terms of battery life. Now, one of the cool things about the Studio 3s is you can actually actively turn off the noise cancellation by double tapping on the power button, and that way you can get up to 40 hours of usage. I haven't done a dedicated endurance test for that, but that's certainly fairly impressive and definitely a nice feature because as we mentioned before, the ear caps are pretty good in terms of passive noise cancellation. Another highlight is now we have a quick charge feature over here where you can get up to 3 hours of usage with just 10 minutes of charge time, and to get a full charge it takes around the 30-minute mark, which isn't too bad. Now, in terms of audio quality, coming from the second generation studios, there's not much of a difference. I would say 95% identical in terms of the audio standpoint. The bass frequencies and lower end stuff feels a little bit more tighter and a little bit more defined, and there's a little bit more mid-range on the new cans, but generally speaking, not a big difference. I don't know, for some people, the Beats kind of sound profile with heavy bass and kind of high-end frequencies kind of enhanced is a huge turn off. They would rather spend half the money and get a pair of headphones that sounds a little bit more neutral. But for me personally, I really like the lower rumble and the pure punch that you get from the lower end frequencies, and even the mid to lower end frequencies. The type of music that I listen to, which is kind of heavier metal and electronic music, it fits really well, and I haven't really found a pair of headphones that gives me the low-end punch that we find over here. Now, obviously, one of the biggest features on the Studio 3s is the integration of the W1 wireless chip from Apple, and it makes pairing with iOS devices a real breeze. It only takes one step using the proximity pairing system, and also if you're logged into your iCloud account, using these headphones with multiple iOS and Apple devices makes it really simple and very well integrated, so you can go easily from listening to music on your smartphone to watching a movie on your iMac or MacBook. Now, in terms of pairing to non-Apple devices, although it is certainly possible, I personally use an Android device on the daily, and I've done a lot of testing with the Beats Studio 3s, and although it works perfectly fine in close proximity, the battery life isn't as optimized. I found anywhere between 2 to 3 hours lower than using with my iPhone, which is kind of a bummer. And also, when connected to a non-Apple host device, when you're about 20 to 30 feet away, I also found some issues with the signal dropping out, which is definitely not cool. Love to see better overall integration for more universal Bluetooth standards. And another thing is missing is support for Qualcomm's aptX HD, a protocol which is a way to deliver high quality, high definition audio across all sorts of different Bluetooth devices. So that's more of a universal standard opposed to the kind of proprietary W1 system we have integrated in the Studio 3s. Now, moving forward, one of my biggest problems with the second generation Beats Studio wireless headphones was the noise cancellation system. It did an okay job in terms of canceling out kind of repetitive mechanical noises that you're going to find in planes, trains, and buses. But in terms of mid to higher end frequencies, people talking and gusts of wind coming your way, especially when I was running, you would find these kind of droning, pulsing noises and these kind of annoying sounds coming out of the speakers that would really disturb and interrupt whatever you're listening to. And at times it got so bad that I actually had to turn off the headphones in order to get rid of these weird pulsing noises. The second generation Studios actually used a very traditional noise cancellation system, which requires the usage of two microphones that listens to unwanted noises in the environment. Then software takes that wave profile, flips it 180 degrees, and pipes that wave profile back in to the drivers, therefore canceling the external noises that you're hearing outside. And it does that in kind of an overall blanket way. Now, what we have on the new Studio 3s is something Beats calls pure active noise cancellation, or pure ANC. Now, there's effectively three key points that pure ANC has to offer compared to the previous generation system. The first one is that it's using a more broader spectrum of frequencies and algorithms to cancel out the unwanted noises in the environment. There's also a microphone built inside the ear caps that actually evaluates the physical fit of the headphones to your head. So if you have hair being contacted, or glasses, or a hat, or even as the headphone is moving around your head, it's going to correct for all those different circumstances to give you the best and most optimal noise cancellation experience. Lastly, the system simultaneously compares the audio that you're listening to while the noise cancellation is being applied and makes micro adjustments in order to ensure that the original audio of the music or whatever you're listening to remains intact and is as pure as possible to the original source. I know sometimes these noise cancellation systems can actually interfere and alter and change the original wave profile. So Pure ANC has a system that is designed to resolve that issue. Now, in real life, does this actually play out? Is the noise cancellation better than the previous generation? And the short answer is definitely yes in some regards, and in other aspects, no. When it comes to drowning out babies screaming, or people talking in the background, or gusts of wind heading towards you when you're on a run, it's still gonna have a little bit of a tricky time dealing with that. You're gonna hear those things. There's no perfect system, but it is certainly an improvement from the previous generation in terms of drowning out more mechanical noises. And it certainly does a better job of making sure that whatever you're listening to is untouched by the noise cancellation system. So in that regard, definitely an improvement. Now, the last two things I want to talk about is just the fact that we still have micro USB integration over here. These are 350 pair of headphones. We should have had USB Type-C. It's 2017 going on to 2018. That is the new standard, and that should have been over here since Apple's going to eventually move there as well. It makes sense to have that integration, but sadly we don't have it. And obviously the price tag, again, $350 is definitely pretty excessive. These are not the best sounding headphones in the world, but for people that kind of see the value in the audio profile, see the value in the actual battery life performance and the integration to the Apple iOS devices and just general still working well with the Apple ecosystem. Some people could still find the 350 kind of valuable in that circumstance, but for a lot of people, still kind of out of reach and not worth it. So it's really a personal preference. But for me, I think it's worth the upgrade coming from the second generation. And one thing that we are going to be doing is a direct comparison of the Studio 3s versus the Sony 1000 XM2s, which have very similar price points, similar features, foldable design, and that's going to be a great comparison. So if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video and review. Again, without your support, none of this would be possible. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.